Hello, everybody. Welcome back. So it's my turn to warm you up just after lunch to prevent the after lunch dip. So we talk about S&OP, and a lot of people that think S&OP is about software. No, it's about a decision-making process. We're all aware of that, hopefully. But of course, you need some tooling because the world is getting more and more complex. And like we heard this morning, 80% of the overrides of the demand planner is basically wrong. So basically, we need automation. We need software. So probably you will know this IT software map. I'm the architect of this software map. I've created this software map for the first time 11 years ago, I think. And there, if I won't go through a whole software map. You have all different kind of software lines. You have ERP, WMS, TMS, and of course you have also S&OP on it. So there are different vendors that are partners outside. So we need this, and this is an evolving environment. But the thing is, how do you choose your application? And Gartner came up with a base-layered IT architecture, very complex wording for what Gartner was trying to explain. They never visualize it, so I try to do that with this illustration. Basically, you have, on a lower level, you have your system of record, your ERP, but also you have your legacy, and that's that, don't touch this, keep it there. So basically, your system of record is where you have your orders, your financial administration. That's the system of record. And that's here. And you have basically, a lot of companies have not just one ERP, like you heard with Danny van der Ster from Assa Abloy. They have, I think, 37 ERP instances around the world. So basically, there's a whole rack of ERP as a system of record. So that's the first layer. The second layer is the system of differentiation, where you make the difference. And basically, that's your forecasting, your planning, your WMS, and your TMS environment. So that's a different layer of IT applications. And then, this is already an illustration of, I think, 5, 6, 7 years ago. On the top level, you have your visibility. You have your apps and your application bolt on. And that's your system of innovation. And for a lot of you, S&OP software is still innovation. It's kind of new. You're still implementing it or even selecting it. So this is the layer of S&OP on top of it. So that's what I mentioned, and this is an illustration of what I mentioned of 5, 6 years ago. Earlier this year, McKinsey wrote an article about how to get rid of the ERP straitjacket. A lot of companies feel hijacked by an ERP environment, and there are new applications, and we have different kind of ERP instances, maybe 37. How do we make sure that we are not in a straitjacket if you have not one ERP instance or whatever, and especially if you are a big company? So McKinsey wrote an article about it, and basically what they're saying, create a data layer on top of it. And they called it a facade. I think it's strange words, but it's probably consulting. I would say a data lake or a data layer or Microsoft Azure or something like that. So create something on top of that, extract the only useful data for planning in that data lake. So it's not like a business warehouse, you put all your data in it. No, that's the wrong way. We have seen that 20 years ago. Doesn't work. No, in this data lake, you only use the data where you need what you need to do the actual planning. So, and carve out your MRP engine out of your ERP environment and do your supply chain planning on top of the facade, the data lake. So basically that's what they have wrote earlier this year. And it's quite fundamental that McKinsey is writing it because the board is believing what McKinsey is saying, right or wrong. But the thing is, okay, McKinsey did understand that you need something on top of your ERP environment. Don't push all things in ERP. That was last millennium. We know it. ERP doesn't solve it. So, so how to move forward if you go to software selection? So basically, what I created last year, what we actually need is a tower, a planning tower, and a planning tower does have different kind of layers. First, your customer orders go into your ERP, and then the next level you have your S&OE. And S&OE, do you have software for S&OE? No, you haven't. No. S&OE is, is production orders, warehouse orders, purchase orders. So basically, it's in your TMS, in your WMS, in your SRM, in your Ariba or whatever. So that's S&OE, and that's what we have seen this morning. You have also S&E as a planning environment, and you need software for it. And then on top of that, you have your S&OP, and we have, that's the flavor of today. And you have your IBP. Some people say it's the same software. I tend to disagree, and we have also a discussion this morning. IBP is a different animal than S&OP. You can argue with it, but I think, it's a different level, I would say. It's a different floor. And on top of that, you have your end-to-end planning. So that's what you need. And on the market side, you have to look out for what's the demand on the market side, and also on the supply chain. That's very strategic, long-term, long-run vision. And of course, in all the levels below, you have your balconies to look outside. So basically, and I hear people using this visual actually talking to IT, what should we do, what should we build, what should we need to plan and manage your supply chain. And basically, what I say, you should stack your applications, because it's not, it's hardly possible to do it in one application. So that's the reality of this world. And then, what I hear a lot, and I wrote an article about it, RFQs of RFPs is request for problems. I hear a lot that people are looking for software and only, stating a long list of functionality. And I think that's wrong. And this RFP is a request for problems. Basically, I think you have a different way of looking at the software world and applications. And especially the Magic Quadrants by Gartner were never designed for software selection. Again, the Magic Quadrants were never designed for software selection. They were designed for the vendors to compare themselves. How am I doing? And it's not meant for software selection. Keep it in mind. But you have to look at 4 different angles. Functionality, yes. Then technology. Is it cloud-based? The techie stuff. Is it modern or not? Or is it from the late 90s? Fundamental part is delivery. Who is going to implement this software? How easy is it to implement? And that's something you have to be very careful about. And the third part is knowledge. What is the domain expertise of the software vendor? So basically, when you fill out these questions, you get a matrix per vendor, per quadrant. And basically, that's a whole different show than just going a longer list of functionality and everybody wants something, and then you get, you don't know if you get what you want. And basically, it's like selecting a car. If you're selecting a car, what is your budget? What do you need a car for? And then do a test drive as soon as possible. Basically, you have 4 business cars here, and these are, comparable to on-premise software, and these are in the same kind of, functionality-wise, different budget, I would say. But make your test drive. So do a test drive as soon as possible. And one of these cars is mine. I don't know if you can guess it. Anyway, so this is on-premise. So this is how you select software. Do a demo as soon as possible. And what we heard this morning is, maybe you want to do pilots and not choose the definitive software which you'd like to do. So that was the argument of Nicole and Danny this morning. Advice, do small pilots to start with, and maybe that's a test drive. But anyway, don't go for software selection for 2 or 3 years. That's bogus. And another way is, or would you rather choose innovative software in the cloud, whatever? And here you see 4 kind of new cars, and one of them is already bankrupt. So that's the risk of choosing new kind of software. It has not been tested, it has not been implemented, or that many times. So that is something you have to be aware of. And you never hear this kind of notions in software selection if you only talk to Gartner and talking about RFQs and that kind of stuff. At least I don't hear it when I talk to them. And basically, what's your maturity, and make sure that if you select a car, it's not the purple Lamborghini you will hit a wall within 100 meters because you don't know how to drive. So you have seen all kinds of software selection. Yes, we need solutions because we can do it in Excel. We cannot do it in Excel. So we need the solution, but be careful what to use. And maybe, you know, what Danny was saying tomorrow, in some regions, Excel is still working. And otherwise, you cannot compute it with Excel. So with this is my advice for you to look how to look at software. And basically what it's saying now we write about it, and I told this morning about the evolution of S&OP. So now, most existing planning systems are hardly capable to do scenario planning. And they hardly can handle unpredictability and uncertainty. So you have also risk and probabilities. So the use of probability within supply chain planning is hardly used up till now. And basically, yeah, scenario analysis I think is key for the future, and that's what I want to say, and leave it with this.